Hi, I'm Nohe.
And I'm Rudy. And today we're filming our first podcast here at the Googleplex. So this will be the worst version of our podcast we're ever going to record, but we're really excited to talk about AI today. Before we get started, Nohe, what kind of projects are you working on? What do you do at Google?
So I work on Firebase, which is the platform as a service, team, or backend as a service, I should say. And we've been working on authentication traditionally, right? Security rules, auth, app check, that type of thing. But lately, I've been doing a lot with Genkit and the ADK and AI and agents.
That's awesome. What languages do you like to work in?
English.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good for AI.
Yeah. No, generally it's like Go, TypeScript. I don't like Python, but to like write good ADK code recently, it's been a lot of drinking the Python Kool-Aid,
Yeah, that's interesting. And we'll be talking a little bit more about ADK later. And for those that don't know, my name is Rudy. I'm also here at Google working on a bunch of AI stuff. Currently focused on cross-platform full stack AI, including generative UI, which is a kind of a new way to send dynamic components back to the client. But today, I really wanted to chat with you about like how we build agents. Agents seem to be like this thing that everybody's talking about, that they're involved in so many different parts of the application, whether you're building a client-side agent to work with data or something that's hosted on a server. Like, it just seems like a lot, but I really want to find a way that we can practically build agents and actually break them down and how to build them. Do you have any like thoughts on that? Like, are you working with any type of agents?
Download Antigravity.
Yeah,
and just say building an agent. It'll go, boom, done.
So
right?
that's actually
Gemini CLI too, right?
Yeah, that's like that's a good point, because when you're working with an IDE, you have a coding agent and it has access to tools, it has access to context, and they're probably one of the most context-heavy types of agents you possibly can build. But I feel like going from that to how do I build something for users that they can use is a big step. So like, have you explored anything where you can start to break that process apart and be able to call it like an API?
So I had just finished wrapping up something, and what it is we play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
I play. Rudy shows up and he's like, "Oh God, what is this?"
Yes.
And in the game, I DM'd one time, right? And when you DM, you build out a story, a collaborative story with a bunch of different people. And you always want to try and like include everybody at the table, make them feel welcome, have some overarching goal that you're headed towards and things like that. And in my head, I was like, how can I make an agent that makes adventures that we would want to play?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
Because I'm sure you probably know this. Like the first time you showed up, we played a game, you're like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah.
Like, who are these people? Why are they talking like this way? And, all these other things.
So maybe for people like me, I really didn't understand the concept of DND coming into it for the first time. So could you maybe explain like, what is like a basic flow of like why you'd even want an agent in that process anyway? Like for me, I kind of just thought people got together and dressed stuff and just did a bunch of stuff. But when I got into it, it's like a really cool, like systematic way to build stuff.
Yeah, so like there's a story and there's like these rule books, right? And so you can buy these pre-generated adventures, you can play them without doing anything. I was like, what if we created an agent that has like some lore behind it, right? So you give it some like general guidelines and then you let it fill in the details, right? And then there's a rule system as well. So, if you show up the first night you're playing ever, and you want to be the wizard and you want to cast Fireball right away, you're going to be disappointed.
Yes.
Yeah, because you got to like level up to get to a certain spot where you can cast Fireball.
Or you might not be able to do anything else.
Yeah. I mean, wizard level 1, you can't do anything.
Oh, fair.
Right?
Yeah.
So you show up the first night, you're all excited, can't do it. That's the thing is like with D&D and Pathfinder and all these other tabletop role-playing games, you have this thing where there's a system of rules and all these other boundaries that you have to abide by.
Yeah.
Right. And then once you have that, you can kind of fill in the rest with your own story. And going back to what I said earlier, like every player is at the table. They create a character that has their own motivations, right? So you're playing like an alchemist and your goal is to find, I forget what it is. It's okay
Yeah.
if you don't remember
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, my character is Oz the Wizard.
Yeah.
Um, no relation. And and his goal is to like search the world for knowledge, right?
Yeah.
But we're playing this campaign called Abomination Bolts, and there's not really a lot of like knowledge finding other than being like, what's underground,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So just to give you a little backstory, we're going into this vault and it's underground.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm in the pursuit of knowledge. So of
Yeah.
course I'm going to be like, what's underground? But like you might have something that like you might have a character that says like, oh, I want to find out like who murdered my father or
Hmm.
something like that, right? And it's really hard to include those like side stories
Yeah.
in the main quest, you
Well, I
know?
think even more than that, it's like, at least for me, it's hard to be like, okay, this is where my current state is. This is the state I want to get to, and like, how do I do this along the way without just going the fastest possible path to optimize for speed? How do I optimize for adventure? And I think that's
Right.
kind of something you're exploring.
Yeah. So you know, 3 a.m. text messages.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a little tired right now. But 3 a.m. text messages to you are, hey, Rhodey, check this thing out that I built.
Yeah.
And it's a campaign agent, right? So
Yeah.
when you have a bunch of adventures grouped together, it's called a campaign. And the campaign agent takes your idea for what you want to accomplish in that game, and it builds out a story that you can play, and it provides loot progression, story progression, all these types of things that I honestly am just bad at because I don't think I'm very creative. And it fills in the gaps to allow everybody at your story, not everybody at your story, everybody at your table, to get a story that they'd want to play and understand and work through, right? So for instance, this campaign agent, what it does is it tries to like suss out some details from you, right? It's
Yeah.
like, hey, you want to play a campaign? Like, what kind of campaign are you trying to play? Is it like a Western? Is it like high adventure, high fantasy? Is it?
And for people that don't know, like a D&D campaign is built around a theme and ultimately a set of characters that has like
Yeah,
a very specific set of rules to follow.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to like trying to suss out those details, it kind of sets the tone for how that agent will interact with you
Yeah.
after that point, right? So, so the campaign agent has this like receptionist, and the receptionist is like, "All right, let me get some details, and I'm going to hand you off to like the writing room."
Yeah.
And what happens in the writing room? Well, the writing room has a handful of people in there. It has the story agent who fills in the story. So you might want to like fight a dragon this adventure or something,
Mm.
right? So you say, "Oh, I want to fight a dragon." I don't have to know anything about dragons. I don't even have to come up with a story about why you're running into a dragon
Mm.
in
Yeah.
in the
Exactly.
basement,
Yeah.
right? But somehow you're gonna run into a dragon, and it'll go and say, "All right, you run into this," and it kind of adds in those details that you don't have. Then you have something that says like the character advancement. So you have a character, I have a character. We all have our own goals in the game to advance our character's
Hmm.
storyline. So let's say my character's in the pursuit of knowledge. I might find some ruby or gem in the basement that leads me into another side quest or another
Mm.
story. And it's one of those things to allow your characters to like build on
Yeah.
to what they have, right?
Well, one of the interesting things too is like you're building not only your character development but also team development because like those side quests, like at first, like seem like, well, if we're just this is our goal, like why are we not just going straight there? Like we can
Yeah,
do the minimal number of operations per level to level up and whatever. And it's like it's really not about that. It's like exploring the unexpected turns, being able to like find new ways to you know basically combat and like apply different methods. And I
yeah.
feel like it's yeah, it's super cool. How did these agents connect together? Like let's take a step back. Like
Oh,
you have this idea for like what you want to build.
yep.
You have this basically PRD for what these agents descriptions are. Like
Mhm.
how did you go from taking that to code? Like what did you look at? Was there like something prior works or like maybe even existing solutions that just weren't meeting it?
Oh yeah, I mean, so I what I used to do was just single shot everything, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
hop into the Gemini app and say like,
Stuff it, context stuff it,
yeah,
just
just
let it
like
go.
fill in as much as you
Yeah.
can. I want this and this and this and this and this, and that did like okay,
Hmm.
like the first few times. But like what I really got into and you know this because I talked to you about it
Yeah.
ungodly amounts of times, is that you can actually run all of these agents in like a loop, right? So, and the way that I like to think about it is like Uncle Bob, right? He wrote
Mm.
a book about function declarations. And I
Yep.
always like to cite this when I think about agents, because
Nice.
it's like have one function do one thing,
Very
nothing
well
else,
and
very
very
well.
tested. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing else, right? Every time you have one that does one thing really well, leave it alone.
Yep.
Don't do that, right? So I started about the storyteller, the player advancement. Then I have the rules lawyer that comes in,
Nice.
and like he writes some rules. It says like, oh, like
He's the enforcer.
he's the
Yeah.
enforcer, right?
Yeah.
He,
Yeah.
he knows like what's challenging for like 6 level 1 characters, right?
Yep.
And he knows like how to balance things out.
In which he would know because D&D and Pathfinder have like a very extensive rule set
It's
to bolt
open
from.
source,
Yeah,
right?
and so you can actually like just crawl it.
Yeah, exactly. So we use like Google search grounding
Nice.
in the one that I have, right?
That's cool.
And you can actually plug in like the Pathfinder rulebook and all this
Which is
other
great.
stuff.
You can just
Yeah.
upload the PDF, which Gemini is great at. Yeah.
Yeah, it can fit the whole PDF too, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Which I do. And Notebook LM, which is also awesome
Yeah.
for it.
So once you have that done, the final step that I have is the critic, right? And this, like, I tell it, yeah, I start by giving each LLM that I interact with like a persona, right? So the first agent, I give it a persona. I say, you're the receptionist, you're trying to plan this out, whatever. The next one I say, like, you are, you know, the world's best storyteller, right? And you want to describe this world in all these different ways, right? And you keep going through these things. And then the final one is, you are the world's biggest critic of people's homemade D&D adventures. You hate everything about them,
Yeah.
unless it meets like a certain bar of like adventure and quality.
So you're almost building like a pessimistic gate to try to pass.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I have it give feedback, and you tell it, give me very specific and actionable feedback, and give it a grade. And if the grade is A+, if it's given to you as an A+ grade, you keep it.
Oh, nice.
And you write it to disk.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you exit the loop, right? So I run all these 4 or 5 agents, except for the receptionist, in this loop.
So how can you do that? Because like I feel like that's one of the things, like when I was building with Genkit or a bunch of other, just maybe the API directly, I kind of had this idea and I felt like I was just building a lot of the boilerplate by myself.
What I've been using recently, I didn't think I would like it, right? And then it turns out I really like it because I've been doing it for everything, is I've been using the ADK.
Cool. And so what is ADK?
It is the agent development kit, and it's available in Python, Go, and Java.
Sweet. Yeah. And then so for those that may not know, it's actually, you know, fully open sourced and you can go check it out on GitHub. But why does something like ADK exist? Like I feel like there's a lot of, you know, why not just use LangChain or like all these different adapters, like, or the API directly? Like, what are the things that you found in it that you're like, oh, this is like solving that thing that I was trying to do?
So I can't speak to LangChain because I've never used it. I've heard about it. I know people like it.
Fair.
Great. But for me, the thing that I really like about it is how well it gives me like the tools that I need to build these like looping sequential agents, all these types of things, right?
Which they call, I believe, workflow agents.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right.
So sequential looping.
You read the doc right before we met, didn't you?
Yeah. Sequential looping and something else. Parallel.
Oh, yeah. The parallel ones are cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have used the parallel one for like the.
Yes. Which is cool because you can say like, here are these things that are independent and can happen. And then you can do these all at once and do like a race. I feel like writing that kind of code in ADK made it a whole lot easier to see, oh, my agent is a graph. And here's how these nodes are connected together. Whereas I didn't really find that solution with other stuff. And I know there's things like LangChain Graph, which some people will probably recommend. But I feel like ADK is like taking an agnostic approach to it and be like, you can write it in whatever language you want. You can deploy it really easy on Cloud Run, you know. Well,
any of these 3 languages you want.
But basically anything beyond just JavaScript, you know, like
that's fair.
You can bring these cloud first languages and you can deploy it on your own stuff, deploy it to Cloud Run really easily with a Docker container. And I feel like that's where I was like, oh, that's like a really cool. And then also like the telemetry, the logging, all of that just makes it really easy. The dashboards, the dev tools. Yeah.
One thing that I do like about the ADK is because, as you said, it's like graph based.
Yeah.
You actually get to see the graph.
You do. And like
on the events, right?
When you get to see that like pop up in the dev tools is so awesome.
I feel
and
so
then,
cool.
And they also just launched an ADK visual builder where you can actually start to compose these together as well to help prototype. That just came out, so we can.
Is it locally or is it?
I believe it is local, yeah. So
Okay.
we can link the blog, but I really like the concept of starting to think about agents and okay, I have this idea. I can start to really quickly to put these prompts into these individual nodes. Every node can have its own tools. I think that's something that's a big unlock when they come to something like this. When when you're used to just making it work as really good in a one shot, you're like, here's like 100 tools and here's all the access to stuff. But with ADK, you can be like, if you're building a customer support bot, for example, like you always have to query the orders. You always have to make sure they have a valid account. You always, and you can guarantee that all the nodes will work.
You're right.
And every time it's either going to fail or it's not.
And you can have like each node do something specific, right? So like I think there's some portion of it where it's like, okay, I really do want this one to have 15 tools available to it.
Oh, totally. Right? And like a bigger model. And some you can have a really tiny model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you bring up the tools because I actually ran into a fire with this recently.
Oh, no.
Where I was trying out the GitHub MCP server inside the ADK, and I was like, hacking away, getting it to work. And I was like, all right, like figure out like the code to fix this bug, right?
Yes.
I was testing Gemini 3 Pro preview. When I got done testing it, I set it up to like, solve this thing for me. I was running it in like a looping agent. I gave it like 50 max iterations, some high number.
Which, by the way, for people wondering, is a way to actually limit how many times this workflow runs. So you don't even have to write any of the code. You can have built-in rate limiting, built-in like control over this thing will never exceed a certain type of thing, which is very important when you're deploying an agent where you are not really as human in the loop and can control.
Yeah. So I got up and I went to go get something for myself. Probably something to eat, probably take the dog out for a walk. And when I came back, it had actually submitted a PR. Because I didn't realize that it had that much, I didn't realize the
it was
breadth
that wide
of the
open.
tools.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know. Like, luckily it was Gemini Pro 3, right? So it did compile and run and fix the thing. Fortunately, it didn't like ask anybody to review it. I got a ping from somebody that was like, did you mean to submit this?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's a cool call out because I feel like tools, I mean, there's some recent studies that even show that like you can spend up to like 50K on tokens just in tools themselves.
Oh, in the definitions.
Yeah. And there's like a new spec that's even kind of aiming to like dynamically find them. But I think that's kind of a more extreme side of it. But I feel like the ability to choose that like, hey, I know this customer support node is only ever going to need this tool or these 3 tools.
Right.
And you can say, you can support everything that this node can do. You can have a very specific prompt, and you know that every time it calls, it's going to work as expected. And when it doesn't, you can see the evals on why it's not. And so you can write tests.
Now, here's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
You said every time you call this node, you know it's going to work. However, that seems like it's deterministic.
That's fair. Well,
And I've run into this issue where, Jeff.
Yeah.
I love Jeff. Jeff is great. But he grounds me to earth so fast sometimes.
Yes.
We ran into this thing where we were writing I say we.
Yeah.
I was like, Jeff, I'm going to build this agent that does this, 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 and this, and this.
Yeah.
I've gotten to here. He's like, that sounds like a cron job. And I was like, oh.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. You're right. And I think that there's something about, obviously, we're both very excited about everything that you can do with AI and plugging in the different bits and all these things. Like I'm starting to build agents for myself.
Oh, all the time.
Every little task. I'm like,
you think in agents and you see agents as the hammer. Yeah.
It's like when I first got into Android development.
Yeah.
10 years ago now. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to build an app that does this.
Yep.
And then I would show it to people and they're like, pen and paper. That's how notes work.
It exists. Yeah.
Yeah, stick it on the fridge. That's your to-do list.
Yeah.
And I got so amped up on that. And I think there's a part where, I think I'm at fault at this. I don't know if you are, but you got to like pull back and be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
am I actually doing the right thing here?
Let's see, like, I'm installing Spanner for this like very light thing. Maybe there's another solution, or maybe like I don't want to use AI to do this thing I could do deterministic.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So when you go back to that customer service example,
Yeah.
do you think in your head, were you thinking deterministically, or were you thinking something like you could give it like some kind of like rough guidelines?
So I kind of actually think that maybe the way I like to approach AI is if you have good enough tests and you have good enough filters, even if you have a bunch of bad responses, but only the good ones make it through,
So
like, is that considered success?
when you say tests,
Yes.
define tests.
So you could do testing with fuzzy or automated integration or simulation style testing,
Mhm.
but really you want to say like, and I think simulation testing is probably the best like analogous way to test AI for this,
Okay.
where you say, I have an agent or like basically a customer in this use case. This is the type of state they're in.
Mhm.
And you can say, here are the tools that they have available. Here they can call the thing. Like, how many times do they resolve to like a correct state?
Oh, okay.
Right. So you run through these scenarios, almost like user journeys. And
Do we have another word for this?
CJs? Or what were you thinking?
I was thinking evals.
That's
Are
fair.
you
That's a
referring?
good point.
Are you
Yeah,
referring to evals?
yeah. I mean, it is a form of evals for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's one of those things where most of like what I work on right now is trying to get things like to a good enough running state where I manually test it. I know it's like the wrong way to do it though.
Yeah.
And I really do want to get back into evals. And there's actually like a really cool Vertex
Totally. Yes.
AI. Remember we were talking
Mhm.
to Dan and he said like you just plug in your prompt in the
Yeah.
model and then it'll like optimize your prompts for you.
Exactly. Yeah, there's so many cool tools now that we can use to help take our agents to the next level.
I'm wondering if that works for if it's on a like per prompt basis or if it's like on a per giant.
I would assume it's a bare minimum of per prompt basis,
Yeah.
but I'm sure you could do it other ways too. So getting it back to the agent builder, what language did you decide to write it in? Because I feel like you have three options, and I know you
So
may prefer Go, but
I prefer Go, but it feels like the Go docs aren't necessarily there yet.
which is very new, to be clear. As the
Yeah,
time
it
of
came out like
this
last
episode.
week.
Yeah.
So I was like, or 2 weeks ago or something, right?
Yeah.
There's things in it that I feel like are there. There's things that might not be there. So I
Well, it's
feel
also mapping a paradigm that doesn't exist necessarily one-to-one,
yeah.
but still does an incredible job.
Oh yeah, it does. I think the Python one is a little bit further ahead.
Yeah, which I believe it was the oldest.
It was the first one.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's the oldest.
Yeah, and then Java was next. I chose just to go. So when I struggled with Go, I jumped out to Python. I remember I was doing like you remember those training courses? They're like
Yes.
Quick Labs or something, I think.
Yeah.
I was doing the training courses, and I didn't know this, but the Python one actually can wrap LangChain tools and other things.
Totally.
So I feel like it's a good base to set on.
Totally.
Because you are able to actually start from, hey, let me just do this like really basic.
And some existing work. There's like a big ecosystem. Yeah. I feel like I was shocked when you sent me the example. Looking at the Python ADK code, like, it's amazing how much of the file is for your agent. Like almost all of it's just your prompt and like a minimal function for like a tool or something. Like it really felt like it's
like
not that much decoration or boilerplate.
3 lines of like maybe imports, then like 3 lines saying like this is the agent, the name, the description, and then 40 lines of the prompt.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. It's you don't have to do anything special to call it either, right?
Yeah.
It's just like ADK web and you get like the web UI and it spins up the agent, all that.
Totally. Yeah.
With Go, I think you have to like set up the launcher, the runner, and then you call ADK or you say go run main.go, agents.go, web UI, like, and you pass in like a bunch of arguments to get it to actually like launch.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll get better over time.
Totally. And so like, what are your next steps for this agent? Like, do you feel like you did everything you set out to? You feel like there's like some edge cases, or do you feel like maybe an agent wasn't the right way to build it at all? Like, because I feel like sometimes you look at it from all angles.
So what the output was like good.
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't detailed enough though. So I wrote between like 230 and 3, and then it's like it works. I want to get more details out of it. I actually want to like ground it in actual JSON data about
Oh, yeah,
Pathfinder.
yeah.
Because
I'm
like
sure
right
there's
now,
like even a database you can connect to.
yeah. So I want to ground it in real data.
Yeah.
Like you said, from SQLite or
Yeah,
wherever.
so you can use like the MCP toolbox and have SQLite, Postgres, MySQL.
Yeah, and then because right now, like when I ask it for stats, it will do the Google search.
Hmm.
But if you ever Google search Pathfinder's things like, oh, I want like the wizard to get like a really cool weapon.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll pull from Pathfinder 1 or it'll pull from Pathfinder 2 before the remastered
Well,
edition.
for people that aren't wanting, like there's actually revisions that like add new
Yeah.
stuff, and that was a big thing for me. I'm like, there's a lot of times in our campaign, I'm like, oh, blah blah blah, and it's probably like outdated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to pull from that. I think the storyteller just needs like a little bit of work. The monster manual is probably one that I
Yeah.
want to load in there. Right now, what I've noticed is it creates monsters
Yeah.
rather than references something to
Yeah.
like pull existing monsters.
So, okay, maybe this is a good refactoring point with ADK. How easy is it to change out an agent, to add a new agent in the middle of some kind of a process, or even just to like approach it differently?
That is a great question. I think like dropping in and out of agents
Yeah.
is pretty easy,
You
right?
just swap
Like
them out.
you just swap them out. So like when you have the ADK definition
Yeah.
of like your loop agent or whatever, there's something that says like sub agents,
Okay.
and it's an array of other agents. You can just drop them in and out,
Nice.
pop them in. They're
Because it's
like
a graph.
tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a graph, right? The one thing that is probably going to be hard about that is testing the results. So right
Mm.
now I don't test any of my agents in a vacuum. So this is comes back
Yeah.
to the Vertex AI service that will
Yeah.
actually optimize your prompts and stuff.
Yep.
Um,
Or basically rewriting your prompts, right?
Rewriting your
Yeah.
prompt,
Yeah.
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 So I would probably want to jump into that service to get it to rewrite my prompts for me.
Mm.
So that way I'm not spending a bunch of time running this giant agent or
Fair.
like running
Yeah.
every agent in isolation.
And if there's something off the shelf that already works, I mean, that's the whole thing is we want to try to find things that let us focus on other stuff, but let us build our agents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it should be pretty easy, but it's just one of those things where I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, totally. Well, I feel like it was kind of a cool way to dive into an intro into agents.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, obviously a lot more that we have to talk about, but yeah, any other last thoughts on the dungeon agent?
No, not off the top of my head. It was like a lot of fun to build.
Nice,
Like
yeah, and it really fast too. I mean,
yeah,
like
it
it really
was
did
super
not take
quick.
that long. Yeah,
You know, the one thing that I would do, like not the one thing I would do different next time, but like the next thing I think I'm gonna have to like do is stop myself from building so many.
yeah, fair.
Because like every time I pull out my laptop now, I'll start working on like doing one thing or some other thing. I'm like, you know what? I bet I could write an agent that would take like an arbitrary input and I could just like say like, oh, go solve this thing, and I'll go and solve it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So like Ash and I have one that we want to build
yeah,
for like her job, and like
totally,
there's like small little things that, you know, I just have a sledgehammer. I just want to hit it on everything.
totally.
Yeah. So
Well, that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to like restrain myself from doing
yeah,
this, you know?
that's fair. I mean, I feel like it's awesome that we can build them so quickly and be able to deploy them. I mean, sometimes it only needs to exist for a period of time. I think that's actually one of those things with agents is like, do you build it for scale or do you build it for the task? And sometimes I'm like, this thing will still save me time, even if I'm only using it for a week. Like it's going to do everything I need. I mean, my process might change, everything else, but like in this moment, it has the stuff it needs in the
Yeah.
context. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. Like the other day, Arthur was asking me for some like stats to be
Yeah.
pulled. And I was like, I know I can write this myself.
Yeah.
Let me just hand this off to Antigravity. And
But-
Antigravity just built like this one-off
Totally.
tool for me. Yeah.
But what's crazy though is it's not even so much like I can do that myself. Sometimes it's like there are too many like smaller tasks that all depend on other tasks. That sometimes it's just about like finding that data, filtering it down, doing a bunch of this boilerplate to where then you can come in and focus on it. One of the things I really love about Antigravity is the agent manager. So you can
Oh,
literally
yeah,
be
yeah.
just kick off that work, go on to something else. Oh, you got a notification, it's done. Let me go do that report. Oh no, I need to change it. Man, well, it's been awesome to be able to talk about ADK and agents and like kind of like where this space is heading and anything you're going to be maybe researching in the next couple weeks.
God, I don't know. I just get hit with so many things. You know, there's a lot of things I'm researching that I'm not ready to like
Fair.
pull back the covers on.
Yeah,
But
and maybe we'll have to listen for a future episode.
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I feel like I do a lot of stuff in Dart and Go and C, and SQLite and stuff like that. And lately, I've been exploring how to build an offline first syncing solution that uses Better Auth for authentication with an optional login for people that don't know, is a self-hosted auth that connects to your database. So you could use Firestore, you could use SQLite, Postgres, doesn't really matter. And then it uses PowerSync. It allows you to like sync some type of data like in a really true deterministic way that lets you have offline. And the whole thing, including the optional login, the optional sync, was all built with Antigravity. I built it over the course
Oh,
of probably 10 hours with Gemini 3. And
okay.
I use some Gemini deep researches to be able to ground the context. And I built this whole thing, and it was so amazing how I could write the test coverage, I could create the plans, I could be very targeted. So we'll have to listen for a future episode on a deep dive, but I have been really having a fun time with that.
This was
Awesome.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, you can find all the links in the show description, and please let us know if you have any other feedback on things you want to hear about. You can find
Or
us
don't want to
both,
hear about. Maybe I'm
or
talking
don't.
too
Yeah,
much,
say
right?
never talk about that again.
Yeah. Get that weird guy off of there.
Totally. You can
Which
find it.
one? Me or you?
Yeah, you can find us both on socials, and of course here at Google.
Cool. All right. See ya.
See ya. Bye.